So we go to chapter 41, production and productivity. So when we talk about production, production implies to creation of goods and services for the satisfaction of human or consumers. Then productivity is your output divided by your input. I think that's clear. So we're going to go straight to the topic, the paragraph. Yeah. Yeah, batch production. So production involves converting resources into goods or services. That's what we just talked about now. These goods and services are provided to satisfy the needs and wants of people. I said that already. So production is the creation of utility, which means the amount of satisfaction that can be derived from the consumption of any commodity. That is what utility is. So there's no production without satisfaction. So when we talk about production, it means it moves from the producer to the final consumer. So as soon as the product is used, then production is complete. I think it's clear. So here says some examples of production would be one, a baker using flour, yeast, salt, and water to make bread. That's production. A large manufacturer using people to assemble components to make laptop computers. That is production. So let's just go to the paragraph. So when making products, businesses may use different production methods. One of these is called job production. So we have different types of different production methods. The first one is job production. When we talk about job production, it involves you producing certain products based on customers' specification. Like cake is a job production. So every customer has its own specification about the cake. Yes or no? So producing a cake is job production. So you had said, this is where a business produces one product from start to finish before moving on to the next. You get the point? I think it's clear that way. So it's job production because you have to finish that production before you think about producing the next one. Job production is suitable when demand is relatively low. However, when demand grows and orders for multiple units are placed, a business might switch to batch production. So when we talk about batch production, here you have to complete one operation at a time, then you complete the next operation. So as soon as this operation is done, you start the next operation. That is batch production. Do you understand batch production here? So here they said, this is where a business makes a number of products to the same design or specification and then changes production to another product with different specifications. So we can produce black pens all through. As soon as we're done with producing black pens, we start producing blue pens. This is batch production. You get batch production here. So let's go down, please. And I said many products are made using batch production, particularly in engineering, the clothes industry, food processing. Okay, we talked about that already. I think you understand what batch production is. Now go to flow production. Why do we call it flow? We call it flow production because it involves producing large units of products at the same time. So here it said flow production may be used when the business can sell huge quantities of output into a mass market. I think you know what a mass market is.
Yes.
Mass appealing. So flow production results in lower unit costs. It is organized so that different operations can be carried out, one after the other, in a continuous process. Products move from one operation to the next, often on a conveyor belt. The main features of a flow production are, one, large quantities are produced. We produce a large quantities of products. A standardized product is produced. It has a specific standard. So whatever you produce right now, you use the same method of production all through for that production. That's why we call it standardized. A semi-skilled workforce specializing in one operation only is employed. For flow production, you need semi-skilled workers who knows how to make that production available, who knows how to make that production. You employ them. Large amounts of machinery and equipment are used. You need equipment for that because you're talking about large output here. So you need machinery. So these are the features of flow production. Is it clear or not? Is it clear?
Yes.
So here this flow production is used in the manufacture of products as varied as newspapers, food, cement. Repetitive flow production is the manufacture of the large numbers of the same product, such as plastic, toy parts, or metal cans. So when you talk about repetitive flow production, you are producing the same thing. It's continued, like you are producing this bottle. The bottle will be the same. It's not changing. You are producing middle-sized bottle, you're going to produce middle-sized bottle. That is repetitive production. Then we go to process production. Here we say it's a form of flow production that is used in the oil and chemical industry. So that means you have to do some certain processing. Materials pass through a plant where a series of processes are carried out in order to change the products. Like crude oil. For the crude oil, you have diesel, we have petrol, we have fuel, we have gasoline, we have kerosene, we have aviation kerosene. So from the crude oil, you have to process it to obtain different products. That is what we call process production. I think that is clear.
Yes.
Now go to different production methods. We use labor intensive and capital intensive. Businesses have to manage resources effectively. They have to choose a suitable combination of materials, tools, equipment, machinery, and labor for production. Some businesses use labor intensive production. This means that they use relatively more labor than capital. Labor intensive production is common in Far Eastern countries such as China, where labor is cheap. So for labor production, or labor intensive, it means firms are investing huge amounts. Huge investment on workers than capital, than equipment, than machinery. That is labor intensive. I think you get the point. Then for capital intensive, okay, now let's talk about, okay, here this said, yeah, for capital intensive, huge investment is made on equipment or machine. So not that they're not going to use workers, they're going to use workers to bust. Huge investment on capital, especially in the manufacturing of cars. They use more machines than workers. You get it? That's the difference between labor intensive and capital intensive. So we go to, now this the impact of using different types of production. The adoption of the different types of production outlined above will tell us. So let's go to job production immediately. Job production, they said the quality of output from job production is usually very high because you are producing specific products. This is because skilled craft workers often carry out work. Workers are likely to be motivated because the work is varied. Also, each worker is likely to be involved in completing the whole job from start to finish. One key advantage to a business using job production is that products can be custom made. You can customize it. Like you're making the cake, you can write, oh, Muhammad's cake, oh, happy birthday, 8 years old, 10 years, you can customize it. That is the advantage about job production. Although production might be easier to organize, when using job production may be slower and lead times longer. This is because craft workers take longer than machine to carry out their tasks. Job production is also likely to be more expensive than other methods. This is because the wages of craft workers will be higher and specialist tools might be needed. So the problem about using job production is that it takes longer period of time. That's the first point. And two, you need, because you're not going to use machines. You're going to use craft workers because getting machines are expensive. So you're going to use craft workers. And for them to carry out that specification, they might need to take their time not to make mistake. So it takes lead time, a longer period of time to finish. And you have to pay more. It is expensive because they are operating on a smaller scale. They don't enjoy average cost of production. They don't enjoy economies of scale. They don't. So that means to pay them, it has to be more. Then we go to batch production. They said unit costs are likely to be lower when batch production is adopted. Unlike job production, for batch production, you need to operate on a large scale. As a result of that, what happens? You are able to enjoy economies of scale because you are operating on a larger scale. Do you get the point, please?
Yes.
So for flow production, the average cost of production reduced significantly because here they're going to operate continuously in a mass market and they're operating on a larger scale. That's about that. Also, some modern technology is so sophisticated, it is possible to produce quite flexibly. So for flow production, they use sophisticated equipment and machinery. So which makes the production effective, efficient, and with quality. We go to productivity. So when we talk about productivity, we're talking about labor productivity, which is total output divided by the number of workers. Are you there, please?
Yes.
So businesses will want to use their resources as efficiently as possible. Output can be increased if productivity is raised. Productivity is the amount of output that can be produced with a given quantity of resources. It is common to measure the productivity of specific resources. For example, a business may measure labor productivity, that is output per worker. It can be calculated as what I just said. Total output divided by number of workers. Number of workers are the inputs. Then we go to capital productivity. For capital productivity, it is total output divided by the capital employed. Total output divided by capital employed. That's capital productivity. Increasing labor productivity. Businesses will try to increase productivity because they will lower costs and make more profits. Firms will increase productivity in a number of ways. So how would firm increase productivity? Number one, the government, labor productivity can be improved in the following ways. One, the government invests more in education by providing more equipment for schools and improving the quality of teaching. For example, also businesses can provide more training and improve the quality of the existing methods. So the first way in which productivity can increase is through education. So if government invests more on education, that means people will get more knowledge and skills which they can use in the labor market. This increases productivity. Two, people are better motivated at work. This might be achieved by using financial incentives such as piece rates, PRP, and profit sharing. However, some workers may respond better to non-financial incentives such as job rotation or teamwork. Another way to increase labor productivity is through motivation, workers' motivation. But when you talk about motivation here, you have to think about financial motivation and non-financial motivation. For financial motivation, we're talking about incentives like piece rate, pay them according to what they produce, profit sharing, performance-related pay. These are financial incentives or motivators. But some workers do not care about the financial aspect. They care about the non-financial aspects, such as job rotation. Change, let them understand, let them be exposed to different departments at work. Give them more responsibilities. This could motivate them. Train them. This could motivate them. Do you understand that? Yes. The third point, labor is organized and managed more effectively. For example, it may be possible to change the factory layouts by positioning workstations and organizing the flow of production. So workers can be motivated. Labor productivity can also be increased if the settings are changed. Make it look more unique, make it look more lively. So not like whenever they come, it's always the same structure, the same method of production. Try to change their method of production. This could also increase productivity because they don't get bored and tired. Labor is more flexible. One approach is to train workers. When you train them, it gives them, the flexibility to be able to switch from one aspect to another. So that also increases productivity. How to increase capital productivity? That's about labor productivity. Now we go to capital productivity. They said capital productivity usually increases when new technology is introduced because it's capital, it's investment on nation. So these improvements will come on advancement in technology. Do you get what I'm saying here? Yes. Capital productivity is the amount of capital you employ in the course of producing that output. So to increase your capital productivity, it's basically from technology, advancement in technology. That is what they are saying here. Do you get the point? Yes. So they said the impact on technology, here they said productivity is also likely to increase if production becomes more capital intensive. The impact of technology on businesses is discussed in chapter 44, okay? When we get there, we know more about technology. Here, downsizing. They said some firms have tried to improve efficiency by downsizing. This involves reducing capacity, that is, laying off workers and closing unprofitable divisions. Advantages of downsizing include cost saving and increased profits, and a leaner, more competitive operation with profitable parts of the business that do not subsidize unprofitable ones. One of the ways in which capital productivity can increase is by downsizing. Here, you reduce the numbers of workers. So when you are reducing the numbers of workers, you're just going to take away those workers that you feel are not productive. You replace them, maybe you're going to replace them with machines. 2, relocation. Businesses often relocate their operations to improve efficiency. By relocating firms. By relocating, firms can take advantage of cheaper resources, such as lower rents, lower wages, or lower transport costs. So businesses might choose to change their position, their location, to a cheaper location where taxes are maybe less, where rents are less. This makes them to be more effective Do you understand?
Yes.
The third point is outsourcing. When we talk about outsourcing, you are giving out what you used to do to a firm, a special firm, to get it done. For example, human resources. Your firm has the human resources department, but recruiting and selection, you find it difficult. You find difficulty. Your department is not doing it well. You can outsource it to a human resources company. Do you understand what I'm saying here? You outsource that the function of that department. You outsource it to a specialist firm or a specialist company. They will do it effectively. Do you get the point? That is what outsourcing is. Then we go to lean production. We talk about lean production. It's another method of reducing waste. So here they said another modern approach to improving productivity in a business involves reducing the amount of resources used, which is lean production. You reduce waste. So when the business tries to improve productivity, there's likely to be an impact on the business. A number of effects are likely to occur. One, financial impact. So what are the impacts of productivity improvements? When you are trying to improve your productivity, how does it impact the business? One, we talk about financial impact. Here they said, if a business is able to improve productivity, there should be a positive financial impact on the business. For example, if more output is produced with the same resources, cost will be lower. This should improve the profitability and provide greater returns for the owners. However, some of the measures used to improve productivity may cost money. For example, a business may invest in new technology. This may mean that the business has to borrow money or use some retained profits. This could have an impact on the cash flow or put the business into more debt or both. For financial impact, if a business is able to improve its productivity, it should have a positive impact to the business, which means you should reduce your cost of production would have reduced. And if your cost of production is reducing, you should be making more profits. That is the point. But in the course of the financial impact also has a negative consequence. Maybe because you have to improve your productivity, you need to invest more equipment or machines. This will take a lot of money from your business. This could affect your cash flow and might put your business into more debt. Do you understand that, right?
Yes.
That is financial impact, positive or negative. Then we go to competitiveness. If a business can improve productivity, it will be more efficient. And being more efficient means your customers will stay with you. It means you are able to deliver to your customers as at when due. You might be having a competitive edge over your competitors. It puts you ahead of your competitors. I think it's clear. Yes. And if you are not efficient, you lose competitiveness, then you are out of the business. The third point, workforce. If a business introduces measures to improve labor productivity, clearly the workers are likely to be affected. However, the nature of the impact will depend on the particular measure introduced. For example, if financial incentives are introduced to improve motivation, workers may benefit from higher earnings. If non-financial incentives are used, workers' jobs may become more interesting. However, some measures might have a negative impact. Before we go to the negative impact, the workforce, the workers, your staff, if you are thinking about improving productivity, you need to come up with different incentives that would encourage them, that will motivate them to do more. That is the point they are saying here. But either you use financial or non-financial. But what is the consequence, the negative consequence of using incentives for workers? Here they said, however, some measure might have a negative impact. For example, if new machinery is introduced, some production is outsourced, some workers might lose their jobs. So the first thing is this: if the firm is trying to improve productivity by replacing workers with equipment or machines, that means some workers will be losing their jobs. That's the first point. The second one, the morale of workers will remain may fall. Workers are also likely to feel a negative impact if a business uses downsizing or relocation to improve productivity. So if some workers are leaving the job, others that are left behind will not be motivated. They would also have it in mind that maybe one day they are going to lose their jobs too. So they feel demoralized. Did you get the point?
Yes.
And also another point about workers feeling negative is that when you have to relocate them from one environment to another, maybe the environment they are used to it. It's not far away from their home or houses. Now you are relocating to increase or to improve productivity. This might also demotivate them. Is it clear?
Yes.
What is the impact on customers? Customers are likely to benefit if a business tries to improve productivity. This is because lower costs could result to lower prices. If productivity is improving, that means firms will be enjoying a reduction in average cost, which means they will be able to sell at a lower price. That means goods and services will be affordable for customers. That is the first thing. Also, some measures designed to improve productivity might result in a better product or service for customers. Customers will enjoy better services. For example, okay, also, if new technology and lean production methods are introduced, the quality of manufactured products is likely to improve. So if they are using lean production, quality will improve. And customers, what do they want? The interest of customers for business is what? Affordable prices and quality products. So customers have better chance of enjoying, getting satisfied with improvement in productivity for businesses. I think it's clear. So we'll go to the question. They said, the first one said, which of the following is an advantage of job production relative to other production methods?
Worker may be better motivated.
Thank you. Workers may be better motivated. That's C. Question 2. Dental treatment is provided using which form of production? Dental, the teeth.
Job production.
Thank you. Job production, yes. Question 3. A manufacturer employs 18 machinists in a workshop. During a single week, 1,440 pairs of jeans are produced.
It's going to be 18 over 1,440.
18 over 1,440. And what's that? That's per week as, okay, let's see. 1,440 divided by 18 years. That's it. So I think it should be. No, look at the question. They said the manufacturer employs 18 machinists in a workshop. During a single week, 1,440 pairs of jeans are produced. Therefore, labor productivity per worker for the week was how many pairs of jeans? Yeah, 1,440 divided by 18. What does it give you, please? It should be 80.
So I did a mistake.
1,440 divided by 18 should give you 80.
Yes.
80, right? So the answer is A. Question 4. Which of the following products is likely to be made using batch production? Batch production.
Petrol.
Batch. One producing units, then you're producing blue pen, and now you're producing black pen. Batch production.
Clothes.
Clothes. Thank you. So the answer is D. That's the end of chapter 41.